A report has revealed that over a third of Brits are resetting their lives by making big changes in the face of economic uncertainty. 63% of those in the southeast want more control over their working lives, and in the next 5 years, around 20% of them hope to change their careers to something that they're more passionate about. And joining me now on the sofa to give us more insight into this matter is Jane Warren from Investec Click Invest. Well, Jane, thank you so much for coming in. And we were talking a little bit earlier that actually I'm in this category.
Yes.
So I started off for 10 years, I sold mobile phones, realised it wasn't something I wanted to do and took a pay cut actually to come and do something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and that is typical of the stories that we heard whilst we were doing the research. So we did the research because it's important to us at Click Invest that we understand how our clients are thinking. And we came up with this phenomena of people resetting. And there are some people who are seasoned resetters, you know, probably like yourself, some people who are new at it. Some people are just changing their career, or they're perhaps making a career out of a hobby. We call those people hobbypreneurs. And they're the people who, you know, have found something maybe they're really good at, like baking or whatever, and they can suddenly set up a business doing that. It's so much easier now because you've got the World Wide Web, you've got that global marketplace for you. You don't need premises, you probably don't need staff. It is a lot easier than it was, and people want to take control back.
And I think the idea of a job for life is that's not really a thing anymore for a lot of people, is it? And actually, we've seen it through people we've talked to here on the sofa that you can go through 3, 4, 5, even many more career changes throughout the lifespan now.
Absolutely. I think that sometimes those career changes are forced, which is obviously unfortunate, but it can be the catalyst for something new and more exciting. But I think if you look at the younger generation, so the millennials, they absolutely aren't interested in a job for life. They're much more mobile, they're sort of mobile citizens, and they don't want to work for somewhere for 40 years. They've got no interest. So they are going to have many more different careers than perhaps you or I had.
And I think for me personally as well, technology has been, or at least the advances in technology has been a real catalyst for that change.
Yeah.
So I know for a long time, my office was my camera, my laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. And you can go anywhere in the world now, it seems.
Absolutely, that's what we're talking about, the web. You know, you don't need to have all of this paraphernalia. Like I said, you don't need premises, shop premises or anything. It's much easier. Anybody can set up business, and you've got the whole world. If you can reach out to them, if your marketing is that good, then you can reach out.
And what sort of new career paths have you been finding then from this study?
Some people have changed career paths to do something more fulfilling, so perhaps more vocational. As I say, we have spoken to people who've made careers out of their hobby. So there was one lady who made wedding cakes, and she's now running a very successful online business. And she was doing that just for friends and family, and now she's making a business of it. And I think also the other interesting sort of group of people are perhaps people who are coming up for retirement, but they don't want to stop.
No.
So they think, okay, well, now I've done my 20 years or whatever, I've got my watch, I'm leaving, and now what can I do? So rather than setting off on that cruise, they're actually choosing to find a job in something that they really want to do.
And we were talking a little bit before as well that obviously everybody now has some sort of level of debt, whether it be personal debt, student debt, stuff like that. But it doesn't seem necessarily to be the financial worry that it was even sort of 5, 10 years ago. And actually people may be taking the decisions to choose a job or a new career path that they're passionate about rather than one that brings in lots of money.
I mean, certainly, certainly that's what the research showed us, that money was really not the driver, the main driver. People want to just feel more fulfilled, and they actually want to feel that they are more in control. We've been told by several governments now that there isn't going to be a pension by the time some of us retire. They've got to take control. So they need to take control of their finances, which means that they want to take control of their careers.
And sometimes as well, just getting a healthy work-life balance back is sometimes the key driver.
Absolutely, because people, you know, they don't want to be working with a 2-hour commute and then, you know, long hours. People just want a work-life balance.
And what would you say then, looking at some of the people, particularly here in the South, what have been their main driving factors?
I think it is about taking control. I think there's a, you know, an incredible feel. It's a very, there's a lot moving in the world right now. I think people are generally nervous, particularly we saw a spike after Brexit and after the election of people being generally a little bit more nervous and thinking, I need to be in control now. And it was across the South, certainly across the Southeast, that's very much the feeling that we got.
So I'm supposing then the advice then is don't be afraid to take that jump.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's risk in everything, okay? There's risk in every decision that you take, but don't let it stop you. If you can, obviously, not everybody can do it. Some people need to stay in the job, but not forever. And so don't be afraid to take the risk, and don't be afraid to, start sort of making sure you've got your finances sorted so that you can do it in, 2 or 3 years from now.
Fantastic. And I suppose also if anybody was thinking about making this big career change,
Yep.
you are on hand to offer advice. How do they find you and get that?
So Click Invest is an online investment service, and that is at www.clickandinvest.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's certainly kind of made me realise that I probably made the right decision to switch over, but thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.